Defending Israel with David Harris on JBS is made possible in part by Barbara and Bob Goodkind, the Paul and Lynn Late Family Foundation, To Life, to Love, and the Patricia Worthen Allman Foundation.
Hello, JBS viewers. I'm David Harris. Welcome to Defending Israel. And we have a very, very special guest this week. I recall a book by John F. Kennedy called Profiles in Courage. I recall another book by the Russian writer Mikhail Lermontov called Hero of Our Time. Well, they didn't know Mithal al-Alusi when they wrote those books, but I know the titles, and those titles both, Profiles of Courage and A Hero of Our Time, apply to this week's guest on JBS, my dear friend, Mithal al-Alusi. Mithal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. It's really a great honor. It's a privilege for me to be on this interview with you on this important interview. Thank you.
Mithal, I'm sure for many of our viewers, they're meeting you for the first time. I've had the privilege of knowing you for some 20 years. Talk to us a little bit about who you are, the family you came from, your background, to set the stage.
Well, my name is Mithal al-Alusi. I'm father from two sons, which have been killed from the terrorists in Iraq after my first visit to Israel. So I am married and I enjoy the life. I'm trying to do my best, what I can to my country, to my people, and values which I believe in: peace, dialogue, and to have a new future, a good future for our generation in Iraq, in Israel, everywhere. But this kind of view is not easy. It is, if you do it, if you have it, if you support it, there is a different kind of terrorists, ISIS, Iranian militias, Iranian Revolution Guard. So it wasn't easy, but I am continuing now, and I will continue to have these goals happen for Iraq, for the Iraqi society, for the Iraqi generation, as well as the Israeli.
So JBS viewers, I want to be sure that you heard and understood Mithal's opening comments. 2005, almost exactly 20 years ago, for the crime of an Iraqi visiting Israel. His only two children, his two sons, were murdered in Iraq. And yet, it did not deter him. He continues to be a force for peace and coexistence while living in Iraq. Mithal, your career took you through politics in Iraq as well, including years in the parliament. How could it be that someone who is committed to peace with Israel could actually serve in the Iraqi parliament? It doesn't make sense to many, I'm sure, in the United States.
Well, yeah, you're right. In the beginning, it was very difficult. Even myself, I didn't believe it will be easier than as I have it. I ran an election, and I was very surprised to win a seat in the Iraqi parliament, which means that the new Iraqi generation, the Iraqi in general, they are sad and tired from repeating the pan-Arab Nasser, Saddam, Arafat, and now Khamenei and Khomeini. So they would like to be normal, to enjoy life. Plus, don't forget, David, the history of Iraq, before 70, 80 years ago, the Iraqi Jewish, they were more than 20-25% from the capital, the citizen of Baghdad. The Iraqi Jewish, they have a beautiful story, which all of us, we are proud of it. We have the finance minister, was Mr. Sasson, Hizqel Sasson, and others Jewish. So it is a very strong relationship between Iraqi and Israeli. By the way, we call the Iraqi Jewish in our book, the Iraqi guide, we call them Israeli committee, or we call them Moses committee. So we know what that means, Iraqi Jewish, and we know the history 2,500 years ago, as somebody was forced them to come to Iraq. They influenced the Iraqi history, they influenced the Iraqi art, they influenced the Iraqi society, and we know it. We have a very, very common together between Iraqi in general and the Iraqi Jewish and Israeli in Israel. So I did win a seat, and the next election which I went through, it is really truth. Baghdad has about 8 million citizens. Baghdad sent 70 members for the Iraqi parliament, and I did win number 4 or number 5, the most voters in Baghdad, which means really very, very good result. I trust my Iraqi people, I trust my party, I trust the Iraqi generation, and we are so tired from repeating the ban-Arab and the ban-Islamist terrorist ideas. We want life, we want to live as a normal citizen. This is the message which I became it to be a member in the Iraqi parliament.
Again, amazing. Now, Mithal, you touched on several issues. One of them was the history of Jews in Iraq. How many Jews are left in Iraq today?
I am very, very sorry to say we have now only 3 Iraqi Jewish in Baghdad or in Iraq. We might have also about, there is no official statistic, we might have also about 1,800 Iraqi Muslim Jewish mix. That's mean Iraqi man that married from Jewish girl. So this is the case now in Iraq. I am very, very sorry to say it, but I did write to some colleague of mine in the Iraqi government. I did write to the Prime Minister. I did tell him, let us open the door for the Iraqi Jewish to enjoy Iraq again. To be honest with you, David, in general, they say in private way, they say yes. But they say also, we are afraid from the Iranian militia. We will be killed. So in Iraq, we still have 3. And I'm sure if the government have the power or the courage, we will have a good new start for the Iraqi society.
So again, what Mithal was saying was that once upon a time, Baghdad, the capital, enjoyed a Jewish population that was 25% or more of the citizens of Iraq's major city. In the entire country today, he is saying there are, he believes, 3 Jews left, and perhaps some who were involved in mixed marriages and perhaps conversions. Is there any attempt to memorialize the Jewish history, a history that goes back to the years of the prophets, thousands of years ago in Babylon? If one visits Baghdad today, are there still synagogues protected? Are there any museums, any memorials to the Jewish presence, or is it wiped out?
Also here, I have to say, I'm so sorry to say it. Normally, we know, we Iraqis, we know there is many, many Jewish prophet in Iraq, in the south, in the middle of Iraq, in the north of Iraq. Today, there is only one. Today, there is only one does exist.
One site.
Just one prophet building. It is because of the Kurd, to be honest with you. If it is under the control of the federal government or the militias or the south of Kurdistan, the Arab part which I belong to, it will not exist. So we have only one does exist because of the Kurd. I'm sorry to say that, but this is the case now. The rest of the highly places, Jewish places in Iraq, they take it over. My people, the Muslim people, no, it's not fair to say the Muslim. The militia, the Islamic parties, they take over those buildings, those historical buildings, this highly building, and they change it to mosque. I'm sorry to say that, but this is the reality. And this shows us how dangerous if we leave the militias, the terrorists, how dangerous if we leave Iran controlling Iraq for other period of time. It is time to liberate Iraq again. It is time to help Jewish history to be written in the right way. That's what we needed in Iraq, and we want to have it back in Iraq.
And I want to come back to that subject in a moment, Mithal, but spend a moment talking about the Kurds, because the Kurds now dominate the northern third of Iraq. They have a, let's call it semi-autonomous government, the KRG, the Kurdish Regional Government. The Kurds take a different approach to these issues than others in Iraq, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Normally, the Kurd society, wherever you go in Kurdistan, they are people you can trust, people you can live with, you can work with them, without big complex, this Pan-Arab complex, Nasser complex, Saddam Hussein, Arafat, and also without the religious complex. So that's why you will feel well if you are in North Iraq, in Kurdistan. And we know, all of us, that the Kurd in general, in Iran, in Turkey, in Syria, as well in Iraq, they did pay a huge price. In Iraq, they did fight for their rights many, many years. And maybe that's why they do understand the right of the others. Maybe that's why, because they did fight and they did pay a huge price. Years. So they do understand that other human beings, they have the right to exist. This is Kurdistan. It's more liberal, it's more normal cities, normal villages, normal society. And I am so happy to live there, now to live there.
I want to come now to October 7th, because you and I have spoken on several occasions. You think that the dramatic events of October 7th in Israel and what followed provides an opportunity for a rethinking of the entire region. Please explain to us what your thoughts are and why October 7th is so important for that purpose.
October 7, maybe for the Israeli, was a big shock, or for the international in Europe and America was a big shock. We Iraqi, we did have many times like October 7. In Lebanon, they have it many times. In Syria as well, in other countries. Because of Hamas, because of Hezbollah, because of Iraqi militias, because of Iran. So when we say October 7, it was a very unique terrorist attack, which all of them, Iran, Iraqi government, Iraqi militias, Syrian regime, Hezbollah and Hamas, they did invest in it. So let me say it in this way. If Hamas does not have support from Hezbollah in Lebanon, if Hamas does not have support from Iraqi money, Iraqi dollars, direct or indirect through Iran, I don't think that they were able to do it, this big terrorist attack. Of course, I will not forget Qatar, but I'm talking about now network, the Iranian Revolution Guard, Hamas part of it. So with October 7, we do understand Iraq, this is a big terrorist attack. We have the same, we did lose our people. And we know that the terrorists, the militias, the Islamic militias, the Iranian Revolution Guard, they try to control a human being, control societies, control state. That's what they have done it in Lebanon. Mr. Hassan Nasrallah was controlling the Lebanon, the policy in Lebanon, the economic in Lebanon, the security in Lebanon, of course, with the Iranian. We in Iraq, we know that Iraqi militias, they became training from Hassan Nasrallah people from Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hassan Nasrallah and Hezbollah in Lebanon, they did build many militias in Iraq. Of course, with the help and with the support and with agreement from Tehran. By the way, we have 76 militias like Hamas. 76, they are stealing the Iraqi budget, stealing the Iraqi resources, and they are controlling the society in different way. So that's why we have a big feelings after October 7 with the Israeli. We do understand how much the Israeli they did suffer because of October 7 and because of Hamas, which means because of Hassan Nasrallah, which means because of Iran. My dear friend David, I'm very sure and serious. If before October 7, it is one issue. After October 7, there is a big change in the Iraqi understanding for the case of Israel. Big understanding and maybe supporting and sympathy with the Israeli position. I can say it very, very sure. Without the willing of Israel to attack or to defend Israel against Hezbollah in Lebanon, to defend Israel against the Iranian attack through Hamas, to defend Israel against the militia and the Syrian system, we will not have a new chance to think about a new future in Iraq. So it is a happy news to say Hezbollah doesn't exist like before. Syria doesn't exist. The regime doesn't exist anymore. And we hope one day to have seen that the Iraqi militia doesn't exist anymore. By the way, Iran, the Iranian Revolution Guard, the Iraqi militias, the Hezbollah, they say the united or the unit or the being together as resistant against Israel. Well, good. They are together. We know they are together for years, and they have killed people together. I think it is time for all of us to be also together, to be sure that the human being, they can exist, the values for our society can exist, and we can live in peace inside Iraq, inside Israel, and together in Middle East. So it is a big responsibility. 7 October did change everything. And with Mr. Trump, the new president, we have really a big hope that soon we have maybe control or more control on the Islamic militias in Hamas, in Lebanon, in Syria, as well as in Iraq. And I hope in Iran.
So, Mithal, you mentioned President Trump. And the question becomes, if you had a few minutes to speak with President Trump, and I hope that will happen, that he will call on you, can you share with our JBS viewers what would be your essential messages to the President of the United States today about what to do in this moment in time?
I will say I'm so proud, I'm so honored to have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Trump, the American president. And I believe in you, Mr. Trump. I believe you mean what you are saying. I believe in the important support what you are doing to push for peace, the Abraham Court again, to have it alive in Abraham Court. I believe that with you, Iran, they don't have the chance to terrorize us again. I believe that new America will not allow Iran to have the atom bomb. I have to say, through many mistakes years ago, Iran, they became the control on Middle East. I do believe, Mr. President, Mr. Trump, with you, Iran cannot control the Middle East again, cannot terrorize the Middle East again, and we will have peace one day soon between Iraq and Israel. But also, I have to say, the Iranian people, they are good people. They are very unique people, and they have the right to exist without Islamic terrorist regime. Mr. Trump, we have a big hope, the hope of the new generation, the hope of the new era in Middle East, peaceful Middle East, can be done with you, with your help. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's a beautiful message, and I hope it's one that he will hear on this television show and perhaps in person from you as well. But you said something, Mithal. You said mistakes were made in the past. Tell us what some of those mistakes were, not just for historical purposes, but to try to avoid them in the future.
Yeah, it is really, it was more than mistake. This is painful. I will give you an example. One of the head of the Iraqi militias, he's a killer, he's a terrorist. He has been arrested from the American army. He has been released from the army that day because his people, they took 5 British citizens hostage in Iraq. This guy, with order from Mr. Qasem Soleimani, which has been thanks God, they say killed from order from Mr. Trump. This guy, this terrorist, he ran away to Iran and he came back to Iraq, building a big militias, having millions of money, corruption. This is not the point. Corruption in Iraq, it used to be, like, sorry to say, normal. But this guy, the American ambassador, Mrs. Romanovsky, she visit him, she meet with him, and the green light goes from Tehran, from Washington to him to build the new Iraqi government. So this government today is with the help of Mr. Qais al-Khazali. So it cannot be truth. Such kind of policy, such kind of signals. It is too dangerous to give the terrorists such kind of signal that you accept them. By the way, this guy, he did kill with his own hand. Or Americans, normal citizen, he take them hostage and he killed them in Iraq. This is the documentation of the investigation which the American, they have it. So the American investigation say he did kill them with his hand. He did say that. And to have seen the ambassador meeting him, to discuss with him the policy in Middle East, this is something too much. So thanks God, now we have a new policy, and I hope we will have a new signal for Iraqi future.
But to be clear, the meeting you described with that terrorist was under the Biden administration or the first Trump administration, or when did it happen?
Well, it does happen, if I remember, through Mr. Obama. In the beginning, he took the people hostage and he killed them, and he became to be free after he took once again. With Mr. Biden, President Biden time administration, they sit together with him. Also, the ambassador, Mrs. Romanovsky, the American ambassador, she did visit him many times. And the last government, which we have it now, Mr. Sudani, has been built through American green light with Qais al-Khazali, with Iran. So this is really too much. This is a crime, to be honest with you.
But you mentioned President Obama. It was during his second term, Mithal, as you know, that the nuclear deal was signed in 2015. From your perspective, because Iran is such a strong presence in Iraq, was that the right approach to try to negotiate that deal, or is a different approach needed for Iran?
We will be very naive. Listen, my friend, all of us, we have now 2 decades, 3 decades experience with Iran. We will be very naive if somebody tried to sell us, he believed an Iranian leaders if they say something or if they sign something. Through the years, always Iran, they did say, we are not looking forward to have an atom bomb. Through the years, we have it from the international committees that they are seeking to have the atom bomb. So agreement here, agreement there, it is criminal to trust a terrorist. It is criminal to allow terrorists to have atom bomb. Look, Israel, I think I can say it, that's what we know, that Israel, they have many atom bombs many years ago, but we have never heard, not in 73 and not after, we have never heard that the Israelis say, we will use it, we will eliminate it Baghdad, or we will eliminate it Cairo. The Iranian regime, the Iranian terrorists, the Iranian Islamic Republic, as they say, they did repeat it again and again. We will eliminate Israel. We will kill the Jews. We are looking forward to do it. And they gave the proof through Hamas, through Hezbollah, through Iraqi militia. They gave the proof. They mean what they say. So to let them have the atom bomb, it is criminal. It is pushing the international security and huge dangers. I believe there is no way to make deal with Iran, no way to trust them. Clearly, after 7 October, time is to make it sure that either they give up the program, enter international control, or they have to stop it in different way.
Mithal, unfortunately, we only have a few minutes left, but I need to ask you, you began by speaking about your two sons who lost their lives because of your commitment to coexistence in the region, to peace in the region. I also know that you spent time in prison for your opposition to Saddam Hussein. I also know that you have faced death threats. I know that there have been attempts to prosecute you for having visited Israel on several occasions, and others as well are looking for you. How do you keep going? I mean, how do you find the faith and the belief to keep appearing on television, to keep traveling to capitals, to tell your story, to appealing for this vision when you've paid such a high price? What keeps you going?
Well, first of all, I am thanking my people, thousands of Iraqis. They did vote for me twice. They brought me to the Iraqi parliament to split the voice of the Iraqi willing to have peace. I have to say, if we do nothing, the militias in Iraq, the Iranian, the Islamist, ISIS, or the Shia, they will continue killing people. It is not just, I am not talking about privilege to have peace between Israel and Iraq. It is the need of the security, it is the need of the human being, it is the need of the societies to have peace, to stop terrorists. So I think I have to continue, and I will continue, because I believe in the values of the human rights, the women rights, the values of the hope in the new generation. It is too much, it is criminal to let the terrorists controlling our families, our children, our society. Time is to be free.
And do you believe that the day will come when your country, Iraq, will become a member of the Circle of Peace that we know as the Abraham Accords? Is that realistic, or is that simply beyond imagination?
Well, this is not realistic if we have Iran controlling countries and society. It is not realistic to have peace if the Houthis, they still continuing attacking cities and others, Israel and non-Israel, with rockets and missiles. It is not realistic if we have the militias there. It is not realistic when some banks, in Arab banks in the region, in Asia as well in Europe, they have the money of those militias. By the way, when I talk about money, we are talking not about a few millions or a few hundred millions. We talk about billions, billions of American dollar in the hand of those terrorists, those militia. It is time, honestly, to have an international investigation committee look for this money and stop the money. With money, the terrorists, they can exist. With money, Hamas can come back. With money, Iraqi, they can be killed. Yeah, I believe in the peace if there is no terrorist controlling the Iraqi policy. I know it. Many Iraqi government ministers, members of the Iraqi parliament, they support Mithal. They say yes, but we are afraid. They say yes, but we are afraid to be killed from the Iranian militia. So when we are free in Iraq, we will be free to make our decision in this direction or in the other direction.
And Mithal, and you said that essential to this vision is strong American leadership. And we need it now as much as ever, you're saying, and that's your message to Washington and to the American people. Mithal, I can't thank you enough for joining us on the show. JBS viewers, at the beginning, I described my guest, Mithal al-Alusi, as a profile in courage and a hero of our time. I think you now understand why he is authentically both a source of inspiration and strength for all of us. Mithal, thank you not just for being here, but thank you for being you and setting an example and an inspiration for all of us. JBS viewers, this is David Harris, Defending Israel, thanking you for watching and looking forward to seeing you again next week.